The morning sun spilled softly through the window blinds of the tiny apartment, brushing against the face of a woman who hadn't slept all night. Zara sat at the small kitchen table, staring at the steam rising from her cup of tea. The world outside was waking up, but she felt as though hers had stopped moving months ago. It had been 6 months since her husband, Ayan, had lost his job. 6 months since laughter had last filled their home. The pandemic had hit them hard. The small tech firm Ayan worked for had shut down unexpectedly, leaving them stranded with bills, rent, and dreams on hold. Zara was a schoolteacher, her salary barely enough to cover the basics. But what hurt more than the financial strain was watching the man she loved, once so full of energy and ambition, slowly fade into silence. Ayan was not just unemployed, he was lost. Every morning, he'd sit by the window with his laptop, scrolling through job listings, sending applications into the void. Days turned into weeks, and rejection emails piled up like storm clouds over his head. Each one chipped away at his confidence. He stopped meeting friends, stopped talking about his plans, stopped smiling. Zara tried to hold everything together. She cooked his favorite meals, left encouraging notes on his desk, and reminded him that things would get better. But deep inside, fear gnawed at her. What if they didn't? One evening, as the electricity went out again, another unpaid bill, she found him sitting in the dark, his face buried in his hands. "Ayan," she said softly, lighting a candle. He didn't respond. She sat beside him and whispered, "We'll find a way." He shook his head. "You don't understand, Zara. I worked so hard for that job. I was finally building something. Now I feel like nothing." Zara took a deep breath. "You're not your job, Ayan. You're still the man who built this home with his own hands. You're still the one who makes tea for me every morning, even when you're tired. You're still the man I love." Her words hung in the air. For a moment, his eyes met hers, and she saw a flicker of something, hope, maybe, but it vanished as quickly as it came. That night, she lay awake staring at the ceiling. She realized that no amount of comforting words could fix what he was going through. He had to find his way back, and she had to find strength enough for both of them until he did. Weeks passed. One afternoon, after school, Zara noticed a flyer pinned on the notice board: Community Youth Center, volunteers needed for mentorship program. Something stirred inside her. She had always believed that helping others could heal the heart, so she signed up. When she told Ayan, he looked at her with mild surprise. "You already teach all day. Why do you want to work for free too?" "Because," she said with a gentle smile, "sometimes when you feel empty, the best thing you can do is pour love into someone else's life." He didn't reply, but he watched her as she packed her bag, and something about her energy that day lingered with him. At the youth center, Zara met children from broken homes, teenagers struggling with addiction, and girls who had given up on school. She listened to their stories, shared her own, and encouraged them to keep fighting. Slowly, she began to heal herself too. One day, she came home late to find Ayan still awake, sitting at the table with his laptop open. "What's this?" she asked, noticing sketches of mobile app interfaces on the screen. He looked up, hesitant. "Just something I've been thinking about. An idea for a startup, maybe." Her eyes lit up. "That's amazing, Ayan." He shrugged. "I don't even know if it'll work. But, seeing you with those kids, doing something meaningful, it made me realize I've been sitting here waiting for life to fix itself. Maybe I need to build something again." Zara felt tears prick her eyes. For the first time in months, she saw a spark in him. Ayan spent the next few weeks working late into the night. The apartment was once again filled with the soft hum of his keyboard and the smell of coffee. Zara helped him however she could, testing his designs, writing ideas, keeping him company. His project was simple but powerful, a free educational app that would help students from low-income backgrounds access quality learning material. "I want kids who can't afford tuition to still have a chance," he said one night. "Just like your students at the center." When he launched a small demo, the response was beyond expectation. Teachers started sharing it, and students began downloading it. Within a few months, a local NGO reached out, offering to fund and expand the project. Zara couldn't believe it. Her husband, who once sat in silence for hours, was now giving talks at schools and meetings. He had rediscovered his purpose. But it wasn't just success that changed him, it was gratitude. He began to realize that love and strength weren't about being perfect or always winning, they were about not giving up, even when everything around you says to stop. One day, Ayan came home with flowers, something he hadn't done in a long time. "For you," he said, holding them out. Zara smiled. "What's the occasion?" He grinned. "No occasion. Just thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself." She took the flowers, her eyes shining. "We both believed in us, Ayan." They stood there for a long moment, surrounded by the quiet hum of the evening, feeling the weight of everything they had survived: fear, failure, hopelessness, and realizing how love had quietly carried them through it all. Months passed. The app, now called Learn Light, grew rapidly. It was featured in a local newspaper as a story of innovation born from adversity. The NGO invited Ayan to train young entrepreneurs, and Zara's work at the youth center flourished too. One weekend, they visited the center together. The walls were painted bright yellow now, covered with children's drawings and motivational quotes. Ayan was helping a group of students learn basic coding. Zara watched him from across the room, his face animated, his laughter echoing among the kids, and her heart swelled with pride. When the class ended, one of the girls ran up to Zara and said, "Miss, is he your husband?" Zara smiled. "Yes, he is." The girl grinned. "He told us he once thought his life was over, but now he says every ending can be a new beginning." Zara blinked back tears. That one sentence captured everything they had gone through. That evening, as they walked home hand in hand through the quiet streets, Ayan said softly, "You know, I used to think success meant money or titles. But now I think it's about how many lives you touch." Zara squeezed his hand. "And how many times you rise after falling." He nodded. "Yeah. That too." They reached home, tired but happy. Life was still not perfect, there were bills, deadlines, and ordinary struggles, but their hearts were full. Love had returned, not with fireworks, but in the quiet rhythm of everyday moments, shared meals, small laughter, and endless support. A year later, Ayan was invited to speak at a national education conference. As he stood on stage, looking out at the audience, he spotted Zara in the front row, her eyes shining with pride. He began his speech not with statistics or data, but with a story, their story. "I lost everything once," he said. "My job, my confidence, my sense of worth. But in that darkness, I found something greater: faith, love, and purpose. My wife taught me that real strength isn't about never falling, it's about standing again, even when you're scared." He paused, his voice trembling slightly. Love isn't just about romance. It's about believing in each other when no one else does. It's about being each other's reason to keep going. The hall erupted in applause. But for Ayan, the only thing that mattered was the tearful smile on Zara's face. That night, they stood on their balcony under a blanket of stars. Do you ever think about how far we've come? Zara asked softly. Ayan smiled. Every day. And what have we learned? She teased. He thought for a moment. That sometimes life breaks you down so it can rebuild you stronger. That love isn't about rescuing someone, it's about walking beside them while they rescue themselves. And that no storm lasts forever, as long as you have someone holding your hand through it. Zara leaned her head on his shoulder. Then we're lucky. He wrapped an arm around her. No, he whispered, we're blessed. The city lights shimmered below them, and for the first time in a long time, everything felt right. Not perfect. Not easy. Just right. Because love had done what it always does when it's real. It had healed, rebuilt, and given them both a reason to rise again. Moral of the story: love is not just about passion, it's about partnership. It's the quiet strength that keeps two souls moving when life stands still. Real motivation comes not from success or fame, but from faith, resilience, and the simple, unbreakable bond of believing in each other.